y'all, it's your girl Jackie, and yes, I'm back with another review for The Shy. Um, this episode is entitled Candyman, and y'all, a lot of stuff went down on this episode, and I can't wait to get into it. Before I get started, like I always do, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that notification bell so that y'all can get my videos when they drop. Okay, y'all. So, without further ado, let's get into this review. Now, also before I get started, if y'all don't know, we're not gonna have a new episode next week. You're gonna have to wait till the week afterwards for the new episode. So keep that in mind. Just want to throw that out there if y'all didn't already know. Anyway, let's get into this review. So the episode starts out with they let us know who shot Duda. Okay, so it turns out to be none other than Brandon's mother. I wasn't particularly surprised, but at the same time, I was not expecting it. She was on my mind as a suspect, but my main ones that I was focused on was Jake, Trig, or their mother, and then in the back of my mind I had Laverne, but I was not expecting her though. I don't know why. I thought that she was a possibility because about her son or Tracy. You know what I'm saying? Because truth be told, he had something to do with both of their sons' deaths. So those are my three main suspects. I never thought it was Imani. I never thought it was Marcus or Roslyn. None of them. I always thought it was either going to be Jake, Trig, Peaches, or Laverne or Tracy. And those were like the top five that I thought could have done it. So yeah, it was a shock, and because also we hadn't seen Laverne in so long, so it was like, damn, Laverne did it, and she came in that mud like, look, you don't get to be no hero. What you thought this was? You can come in here and save Chicago, and stuff like that after you killed my son. You ruined my life, so now I'm about to take yours and then walk smooth the fuck off. But I'm like, nah, Laverne. If you was gonna do all that, you was gonna say all that, then you should have went on ahead and took his ass on. Like, you should have shot his ass again. Cause I don't know why you gonna shoot him in the stomach and leave him alive. He would have got that right in the head. I don't know. You kill my son, I'll make sure you dead. I don't know what you was thinking about. So anyway, we see him in the the ambulance, stuff like that, and they trying to revive him and stuff like that. And the paramedic is like, Mayor Perry, are you all right? Are you still with us? You know what I'm saying, like that. And then we hear him flatline, and I'm like, nah, Duda. I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't care if he died or there, but I'm like, he can't go yet. You know what I'm saying? So, we see that he survived. He went to the hospital and stuff like that. So after they're putting the mask on his face, the scene switches over to Jake, Kevin, and Gemma in class. Now, a lot of people was like, mad about the outcome of this situation, but I'm gonna explain to you why Kevin got exactly what he deserved. Because people are like, I can't believe Jake was sitting there acting like he wasn't gonna say nothing to Kev, or Kiki in there with Gemma, like Kevin wasn't sitting right there. And let me just say this. First of all, if you know that you caught these two messing around or something like that, why the fuck would you sit right behind them? I don't understand that. And then when you see them talking to each other, you want to get an attitude in the middle of class, mind you, and throw something at Jake. Jake ignores it like he was supposed to fucking do because he's in class trying to learn something. You know what I'm saying? Gemma goes and picks it up and says, no, don't. And then he looks at Jake and like, so you just going to ignore me? And he like, ain't shit to say. And it wasn't shit to say at that moment. You're in class. You're supposed to be paying attention to the teacher. If you want to talk about some shit later on outside of something like that, then that's when the fuck you need to do it. I don't understand why you was in here trying to get this situation resolved in the middle of fucking class, like you ain't in the middle of class trying to learn some shit. I don't understand that. And people want to act dumb like, well, Jake shouldn't have been ignoring him. He should have ignored him. he did what he was supposed to do. That's why he didn't get in trouble, because he did what he was supposed to do. He was minding his business up there trying to learn, what he was trying to learn. And Kevin gonna start this mess in the middle of the damn class. I understand that he was upset, but you got to learn how to control your anger and wait till you get outside somewhere and then handle your motherfucking business. I don't understand that. You see, this is the difference between him and Jake. That's why I say that Jake is more street smart than he is, because Kevin don't know how to adapt in certain situations. Jake knows how to adapt in anywhere that he is. He knows what he does, what he's supposed to do, and what he's not supposed to do, and what can get him in trouble. So he don't do it. He waits till he get where he's supposed to be at, and then he'll do that shit. Jake would have caught that ass outside. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody. I'm not finna fuck up my shit up in here because, you know what I'm saying, you want to act a fool. It's not finna happen. You know what I'm saying? So he's minding his business, and Kevin, he done walked up over there up on him and push him. So then Jake get up like, "What, nigga?" And he was like, "Don't call me that," or whatever. And he swung on him. And I'm gonna keep it 100. He hit him in his face. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't too hard, because Jake, popped right back up right after he did it. Was ready to fight his ass, but getting ready to toss his ass around. And I'm like, "Come on now, Kevin, what you doing? Giving these little love taps? Because I mean, you from the shy now. You supposed to be sleeping niggas. You ain't supposed to be sitting there just letting people, hitting motherfuckers, letting them get back up. And he ready to toss your ass around." Like, I was like, he was up there struggling. Once he got, free of Jake, he snatched the bay and hit the teacher in the damn face. I'm like, look what you done did. You should just wait till you got outside and dealt with this. Now you in trouble. And that's exactly what you get. I'm sorry. People can call that insensitive all you want to. I don't give a damn. He got what he got, because he had no business doing that in the middle of the damn class. You should have waited until y'all was outside and then caught Jake ass outside and handled your business. You know what I'm saying? But you didn't do that. You chose to act the fool in class. And people were like, "Well, I don't think that, they should have expelled him for that because it was an accident." But what you got to understand is that he had already gotten in trouble earlier that year. Remember when they went on the trip to the college, on that college tour. He had got drunk and, was doing them drugs stuff while he was playing them video games with them white boys, and he got kicked off the tour. So this wasn't his first offense. This was his second offense. And, you know what I'm saying? And he got in trouble for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he should have. You know what I'm saying? And he ended up getting expelled. Kevin got to learn how to control his emotions better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand you was upset about what they was doing. They was dead wrong. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say like Jake didn't deserve that hit, but you know what I'm saying? You have to be smarter about stuff when you do it. That was not the right way to handle that. So after that, we see Roslyn at the hospital with Duda. And just so you know, I'm not going to be going in order. I'm just going to be going as I remember. We see Roslyn at the hospital, and it looked like she's really concerned about Duda. She looked like she's really hurt that, he got shot. She's there caring for him. She got this look on her face that, like, she just can't believe this happened to him and stuff like that. Like, it really hurt her to see him in the hospital like that. And so then when he wakes up, whatever, like that, and he sees her, doing all this stuff and, fixing his pillow and stuff and bringing him things and, making sure he's all right and stuff. And he was like, where's this, where's that? She's like, right here and stuff like that. And that she's going to take care of the press and like that. He was like, "Oh, you enjoying this?" And she was like, "Look, I'm sorry you got shot, but, I got it from here," or whatever. And he was like, "Okay." And then she's getting ready to leave, and somebody was coming in. She was like, "Oh, you looking for Tracy?" And he just, shook his head or whatever like that. So she walked out with attitude. I'm like, wait a minute, does she actually care about Duda? I'm like, okay, because she in her feelings. Like, okay, whatever. So we get to Kevin and Dre and Nina. And they're like, so you got suspended indefinitely, huh? And he's like, I wasn't even trying to hit him. It was like, it don't matter. And then, Nina, she gonna walk out talking about something, fuck up your life if you want to. I'm like, Nina just don't even, she don't even really care about being no parent at this point. Like, she been drunk the last couple episodes and everything else, and, doing her own thing. I'm like, that didn't make no sense. So then, he was like, what you want me to do to make up to y'all? And, Dre, like, it ain't about us. It's about you and your future. And she like, I keep trying to tell you that these are such pivotal years for you right now, and what you do now will shape your future. If you keep on messing up right now, you gonna F up your future. Like, get your stuff together. And he was like, so what, you gonna do, like ground me or something? She's like, no, we ground you and do all this other stuff already. It don't seem to do nothing. So he was like, so if I wanted to go to Papa's, I could. She was like, yeah, but don't take my kindness for weakness. We ain't done. So he was like, yeah, and he walked on. And Drake walked off, whatever, because she was like, me and Nina need some time, whatever, like that. So he was like, whatever. So, next thing, we see Trig and Imani. He going trying to talk to her and stuff like that, and she kind of got an attitude still. He was like, you mad? And she was like, I just don't want to feel like the things that matter to me don't matter to you and stuff like that. And he was like, like, we're not gonna, agree on everything and stuff like that. And she was like, I understand that, but I just want, what I'm saying, I just think you care about what people think. And he was like, I'm human. And she was like, so am I. I just don't want to feel like you're not on my side or whatever like that. And he was like, that's what you think, that I'm not on your side? And she was like, yeah, or whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, how about this? How about, we move as a unit from now on? And she was like, she looked at him and she said, I love you. And he's like, I love you too. And they kiss or whatever. And then we see Papa and Maisha, and she's talking about, he's talking about his podcast and how he doesn't want to do it anymore because he's not getting the views that he wants, and he can't get like a lot of the famous people that he wants to do it with him. And she like, you didn't do that for the clout. You did it so that people can hear what's going on and stuff like that. You did it for the people, so keep doing that. People are listening to you. And he was like, okay. And then she gets a notification and she said, oh, somebody wants to do an interview on me. He was like, what? Who? And she's like, I don't know, I'm still reading. And he was like, congratulations. And she was like, well, don't sound too excited. He was like, no, like, I mean, I really wish I can get, more views on my podcast, but, God has seen fit to shine light on you, and I'm very excited about your blessing or whatever. And she was like, just remember, my blessing is your blessing. And he kind of like nodded, like, okay, whatever, but you can tell he was kind of jealous and stuff. So after that, we see Kevin with Papa. This is what we come at with this this black table talk is what I call it. Like the red table talk, this is the black table talk, okay, in Chicago. I'm like, oh my God. Papa that came up with stuff. So, he in there and he was like, man, I can't believe, Jake and Gemma, my best friend and my girlfriend, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, man, if one of y'all touch my lady, we be fighting. And I'm a man of God. I said, Papa, we're gonna go somewhere. You was scared to go up down that trap house. Ain't like you finna fight somebody, child. Bye. Anyway. Ass was scared as hell. Anyway, he was like, we gotta talk this out and stuff like that. He was like, I don't feel like talking. And so while he's saying that, Jake and Gemma pop up, and I'm like, "Nah, why you do this, Papa?" He was like, "I know." He was like, and, Kev jumped up real fast, and Jake was like, "Papa, what the hell going on?" And he was like, "I know it might seem like an ambush, but it's not. I'm just trying to bring people together, something like that, so we can, hash this out." He was like, "Man, you ain't trying to bring nobody together. You just trying to get some more views in your podcast or whatever." He was like, "Why can't I kill, two birds with one stone?" I'm like, "Papa, this is not the way to do it." But okay, what I'm saying? I'm like, this is not gonna end well. But let's see what they talking about or whatever. So he was like, "No," and Jim was like, "I'm leaving" or whatever. And he was like, "Come on, we always hash it out." And Jake was like, "Not this time," or whatever. And so he eventually ends up, talking them into it. And Jim was like the first one to sit down. She's like, "Okay, I don't mind having a talk." And then, Kevin was like, "I'm only doing this for you, Papa," or whatever. And he sits down, and then Papa looks at Jake like, "I thought you said you weren't scared of nothing." And he was like, "I ain't." And he was like, "Well, okay, have a seat then." And so Gemma grabs his hands like, "Come on." And so he sits down. And so they get started, whatever. And, Papa plays his little music, whatever like that. And then he was like, tells what the podcast will be about, talking about the pain inflicted on you by the people that you love and all that stuff, and woo out the band, whatever he said. And then Kevin was like, it's a lot or whatever like that. So Papa was like, "Okay, they eager to jump in, I see." So he asked Jake and Gemma, when did they affair start, or they began or whatever. And they were quiet. And then Kevin was like, "Well, don't get quiet now." You know what I'm saying? And Gemma was like, "Look, we were wrong for what we did, and we're both very sorry. But you can't just keep self-medicating and projecting your pain on us." And I'm like, I mean, she ain't lying. But, like she said, they was foul and they sorry or whatever. And so then he was like, "Let me put my business out there." She was like, "Child, people know. Ain't like people don't know, okay? You sit up there and got kicked off the tour and everything else. Ain't like nobody don't know your business, okay? So stop." And then so Papa was like, "So what I'm hearing is, Jake and Gemma are sorry for what they did, but Kev, your problems are bigger than them." And so then Kev looks at Jake like, "What happened to loyalty?" And Jake was like, "Man, you ain't always been loyal to me." And I'm like, "Thank you. I'm glad that was said. I'm glad that it was thrown out there, and that, Jake said that shit, because it's true. It's so true. And I'm so tired of the one-sidedness, when it comes to this situation, of people acting like, Kevin didn't have play a part in what's going on, because he did. His attitude and the way that he been treating both Jake and Gemma played a part in this. And it is what it is. It doesn't justify them, but it cannot be glossed over what he did. You know what I'm saying? And the actions that led to what was going on. So he was like, "Jake, I always had your back, and you know that." And Jake just rolled his eyes at him like, "I'm not finna argue with you. Like for real. Like, we know the truth. Anybody that's been watching all the seasons know that Kevin has not always had Jake's back. He's definitely flaked on Jake a couple times. So we're not finna act like that. But I'm not saying that, he's done it a lot of times, or that he hasn't been loyal majority of the time, because he has. But there has been times when he hasn't. So we're not finna sit there and act like he's not." So, Gemma was like, "Well, you never had mine." He was like, "Well, you want me to have your back a lot, and, I could just go around supporting you all day." And she was like, "Well, if you was passionate about something, I would gladly support you, but you don't care about anything." You know what I'm saying? And so he was like, "I cared about you." And then she got a little choked up a little bit, and she was like, "I still love you, Kevin." And then he started laughing like, "You still love me?" You love me? Then why you with him? You know what I'm saying? And she was like, because I'm not the same girl that I was last year. I need something different. And then Papa was like, wait, what do you mean that you need something different? And Kevin was like, yeah, what do you mean by that? And then before she can get her answer out, Maisha chimes in and she's like, just because she started with you doesn't mean that she was always meant to be with you. And Kevin immediately was like, bullshit. And then he looks over at Jake and was like, if you wanted a homie hopper, all you had to do was say that. And you could tell by the look on Jake's face that he was not feeling what Kevin said about her. He was looking like, the fuck, nigga? Like, I'm like, Jake and his feelings about this girl. Like, for people that was seem to act like he don't like her, whatever, like that, yes, he does. And he was not feeling what Kevin said. So, Gemma was like, so I'm gonna pass around because you ain't wanna, act like you had some sense of who out the band or something like that. And they started getting into it, and then all of a sudden Kevin was just like, fuck this, and he walked out. I'm like, child, mess. This whole thing is just a mess. So then after they left or whatever, Papa was like, he gonna turn to Maisha talking about something. What you mean by, just because you started out with somebody don't mean you always meant to be with them. And she was like, you really need to stop taking things so personally. And, she, walked out or whatever. So then we get this scene with Jada and, Tiffany and Dom. Okay, I'm going to talk about them for a minute. So they get this business opportunity with this white lady. They had a meeting with her, and she's trying to offer them a merger with her company or something like that. And, Dom is like, you better be talking that merger money. And Tiffany is kind of getting attitude because she was like, when they gave her the contract, she just like lifted up the page, and then she was like, so we can make a lot of money. And she was like, yeah, we got the man. She ain't even looking at that contract. She just trying to hear about what the woman said. And I'm so glad that Dom was there. I don't care what nobody say. Yes, I didn't care for her at first, but excuse me, I love their business relationship. I don't care what anybody says. Dom is very business minded, and she's the best person to be in a business with. I would do business with her any day because she's smart about her shit, and she don't just be listening to what people are saying. She looks at that contract and see what they talking about, because if you don't do that, a lot of these black people, they just listen to, and I've seen this even with family members, they're not trying to read what people are saying in these contracts. Even when they going to buy cars or houses or something like that, they just looking at what they finna get. I'm about to have this, I'm about to have this nice house, I'm about to have this car, but you're not looking at them contracts. You're not reading all that shit word for word to see what they putting up in here, to see what, you know what I'm saying? And if you is reading it, do you understand what they're saying? That's another thing. You know what I'm saying? And they get taken because they're not reading the contracts. They're not, you know what I'm saying, or not getting everything that they're worth. Like Don was saying, I want them to pay us what we're worth. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to take no quick money. And you know what I'm saying? And I'm so glad that she was like there to be like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Because it's ridiculous how many black people actually get taken like that, because they so used to not having shit. And when somebody throws something in their face, they quick to just jump on it and take it. And you can't do that. You got to be smarter than that. I understand that you want to have things, you want to have nice things, but you can't just jump on things like that just because you see them dollar signs. You got to be smart about your stuff and make sure that you're getting paid what you're supposed to be getting paid, and make sure that you're not getting taken, and make sure what them people are talking about verbally is also in that contract. Because a lot of times they'll say, well, yeah, you're going to get this and you're going to get that. But when you actually read that contract, it's nowhere in there and you done signed your life away. Read that shit line for line. I can't stress that enough. And I thank God for my father, because he taught us that at a very young age. Me and my brothers, you read every line on everything, anything that you sign. You not sign nothing without reading it, and that's just period. That'll save a lot of people a lot of going through a lot of shit if you just read your contracts. Period. Don't sign nothing without reading it. So anyway, they get into it, and she like, you trying to block our back. She's like, I'm not trying to block our back. I'm trying to make sure it's big enough. And then, later on we see her, talking to Emmett and Jada. She was like, I'm just, somebody offered me some money, I'm gonna take the money with no questions asked. And Emmett was like, that's your problem. You don't want to ask no questions, and that's how you gonna get took, because you want to sit there just take some money and not ask no questions about these people and just sign some shit. No, that ain't how you do business. Period. You know what I'm saying? So, and then eventually we see her talking to Dom again, and she was like, "You right. I'm sorry about how I acted, stuff like that." And they get a visit from Iman Shepherd. I forgot what his name was on the show, and he goes now, he offers them a deal and stuff like that, and they're like, okay, this sounds good. And he like, we be like, oh, baby. I was like, oh, yes, don't talk about shit. Fuck all the other shit. Yes, please, keep it within our people. And so, they set up a meeting to go and look at his space and stuff like that, and so that's the end of that storyline for the night. And then I'm going to go over to Emmett now, because he was over there and they was talking to Jada, and she was saying that, Sway told her that he loved her and stuff like that. And he was like, well, just because he said, you ain't got to say it back. And Tiffany was like, everybody as cold-blooded as you, Emmett. And then Jada was like, yeah, he get that from his daddy. Don't never want to show no emotion or something like that. And so Emmett, he started making his noise like, I was like, he get on my nerves. And so then she started coughing, and then she was like, he was like, you all right? He was like, yeah. And so then Jada was like, why don't you take them home to Tiffany and stuff like that? So Tiffany started to get ready to go, and Emmett was like, no, I'm going to stay here with my mama. And she was like, no, come on. He said, I said I'm going to stay back. And so she was like, okay. So, he gave, EJ a kiss, and then they went on home. And so then he stayed there with Jada, and she was like, if you going to be here, can you wash the dishes and stuff like that? He was like, yeah, I got you. And so next day, we see Emmett, and he's bringing food in there to Tracy. I guess he was setting up some food for the people that was coming in there or whatever like that at their little establishment they got over there, where her and Trig over there trying to do business at. And he was like, y'all ain't even got the stuff cleaned up in here and set up. She was like, well, you just got your stuff together, you know what I'm saying? Just go and set that stuff up over there. And he was like, it ain't even clean. She was like, you right, something like that. Can you just fix it up for me? And he was like, yeah. So as he doing that, Dre and Kevin walk in, and she was like, what's up, Emmett? And he was like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? What's going on? And she was like, nothing. You seen Tracy? She's like, yeah, she just was on the phone or something like that. So she told Kevin to go over there and help Emmett. And then Emmett was like, what's up? And he was like, nothing, I ain't trying to be here. And he was like, what you trying to be? And he was like, anywhere but here. And Dre was like, man, you better get over there and do and help him, because you ain't got no choice. And Emmett was like, you better do what she said, or you get the ass whooping. I was rolling. So then we go back to Jake and Gemma, and they're sitting on Jake's bed, and she's on his lap, and he was like, I love Kevin, I really do, but I can't live my life for that nigga. I gotta live for myself. And she was like, so you don't think we should apologize? And he was like, I mean, we can, but it ain't gonna change shit. And she was like, so what do we do? And she was like, we do what make us happy. And she was like, what's that? And then they started kissing. Now, my brother, who watches the show also, he explained Jake's mindset perfectly from a male's point of view. And because I was saying the same thing, like I thought that he should apologize, but he was like, from a man's point of view, when you in that situation, the way, gotta remember, the way Jake's mind is set up is not the same way as Kevin's is set up. They're not built the same. And from Jake's point of view, he felt like at that moment, because the wounds were so fresh, that an apology at that time wouldn't mean anything, and that Kevin wouldn't be trying to hear it. And so when I look back at the episode, when Gemma was trying to apologize, Kevin in fact was not trying to hear it, because she said it and he was still popping off and stuff like that. So I understood now from what he said. He was like, especially when it comes to men, like in Jake's mindset, it's like, it don't matter if I apologize. It don't make no difference, because I hurt my friend. It's not gonna make a difference. He's not gonna try to hear that right now. It's not. it's not gonna mean nothing to him right now if I go in there and be like, I'm sorry for what I did, because I'm not finna stop seeing you. So it's like he gonna be looking like you're not sorry, even though he is sorry that he hurt his friend. But Kevin wasn't gonna try to hear that. So I get that, you know what I'm saying, like that from, you know what I'm saying, if that's the way, you know, he felt about it. So after that, we see Emmett, we see Dre talking to Jamal, which is played by Vic Mensa, and his girl and the little sister, whatever like that. She's trying to do a little therapy session and asking them what they need, or something like that. And the sister was like, I just need them to stop fighting all the time. And so Jamal was like, well, I'd like to increase the peace. But she be on some other stuff. I started rolling. I said that was some other stuff. And so she was like, I don't be on other stuff. I be on some mature stuff. And we walked the band and they started arguing again. So eventually the sister, she gets just tired of it and she walks out. And she bumps into Kevin. And when he was like, my bad, she was like, don't worry about it, whatever like that. And so when they stand up or whatever, Emmett comes by and he was like, well, the best way to get over somebody is to, So Kevin started laughing. And I think I skipped the scene before that, when Emmett was trying to talk to Kevin, and Kevin told him what was going on with Jake and Gemma. And he was like, Gemma left me for Jake. And he was like, for real? Yo, boy? He was like, that's messed up. And he was like, yeah. And he was like, shitty stuff, happens to teach us a lesson sometimes. He was like, what's my best friend, still my girl got to teach me. And he was like, shit, keep your head on a swivel. So I said, I know that's right, because you sure wasn't paying attention to that shit. So yeah. And then after that, yeah, he went to the old girl. And then he was like, yeah, you gotta pay attention or whatever. So after that, we go back to Jake and Gemma, and child, she on top of him. I didn't even notice that. I still gotta go back and watch. I ain't noticed that she was between his legs. I thought she was just on top of him, and she was kissing him. And you know what I'm saying. And while they was doing that, Trig done bust in the room talking about some, hey Jake and stuff like that. And then he see her. He was like, oh my god, because Jake was like, damn bro, you don't knock or something like that. And she was like, oh my God. And then, Imani walked in. She was like, what's going on? And she was like, I'm so sorry. And she was like, it's okay. We've been all been young before. And she was like, why don't you come with me so, Trig can talk to his little brother. And so she hurries up and she walks out and stuff like that. Trig over there covering his face up because he don't want to see her body and stuff like that because, she underage or whatever. And I don't blame him. He like, damn it, Jake, And so they walk out or whatever. So Trig ends up having this conversation with Jake, like, and Jake is like, my bad, bro. And he was like, yeah, I think it's time we had that talk. And he was like, why? I've been fucking. And he was like, that's the problem. And Jake was like, do we really have to do this? He was like, yeah, we got to do this. Like, can't have you out here thinking sex don't mean nothing. He was like, it don't. He was like, so Gemma don't mean nothing to you? And he was like, she different. And I love how he said she different, because that's how you know that Jake really likes this girl. He ain't just trying to smash or whatever like that. He really feeling her. You know what I'm saying? Like that. And we've never seen Jake really, mess with a girl like that. Never do the things for a girl that he does for her. Like, he took her out on a date and everything, got her a fish down, something like that. When you ever seen Jake take somebody out like that? Never. Like, it is what it is. Like, Jake just be ready to smash and move the hell along. He ain't even hit that yet. You know what I'm saying? So, shit. I'm like, dang. And, he really like her. So, Trig was like, just make sure you get to know her and stuff like that. And outside of, when y'all messing around and stuff like that. And he was like, what you mean? He was like, well, make sure you enjoy spending time with her, even when y'all not messing around. And he was like, okay, I get that. And he was like, you got to make sure every time is special. And he was like, that's a lot, bro. He was like, yeah, it is a lot. It's supposed to be a lot. This ain't no kid stuff. And he was like, I got you. He was like, and bro, just make sure you careful, okay? And not just with your heart, but with hers too. And then he shook his head, like he understood what he was saying and stuff like that. So we switched over to Imani and Gemma. And, Jim was like, I'm so embarrassed. And she was like, you don't have to be embarrassed about doing what's natural. And I'm glad that she was telling her that, because too many times, especially when parents catch their kids doing something like that, they want to blow up. They want to, be ready to beat their ass and just, criticize them, call them all types of names and stuff like that. I've seen all types of stuff on the internet. And it's like, just sit your child down and talk to them, like that, and make sure they're being careful and that they're protecting themselves and stuff like that. So I'm glad that Imani was like, as long as you protect yourself and you give consent, I'm not going to judge you. And she was like, thank you. And so, Jake comes downstairs. He's like, your dad's here. And she was like, can we keep this between us? And she was like, I got you. So they go upstairs, and before they get up there, we see Trig talking to Marcus. And he like, you know what I'm saying? This like nice house, stuff like that. And he was like, thank you. He was like, Jake and Gemma seem like they, really enjoy spending time together. He was like, I can see that. And he was like, I think she's a good influence on him. And, Marcus was like, I'm sure she is. And so when Gemma came up there, he was like, okay, let's go. So she was like, okay. And she gave Jake a hug. And he was like, I see you at school. And then they left or whatever. I was like, oh, Lord, here, Daddy ain't gonna be happy about this. But we're going to see what's going to happen about that conversation. So moving on to, let me go back and talk about Roslyn. So Roslyn comes outside of the hospital, and she talking to the press, talking about some that the police, the press need to be trying to find out who shot my husband and what for and stuff like that, while they trying to criticize everything that he doing and all this stuff like that. And they was like, well, what about the good cops? And she was like, well, they should be standing with us. And they silence in this situation will not be ignored and we ought to ban. And she was like, so they can either stand with us or get ran the hell over. I was like, I know that's right, Roslyn. Shit. She took charge of that thing there. So, I'm just excited to see what she about to do, shoot. And so, let's get to this Nina and Dre bullshit. I think this is the last thing. I think I covered everything else. But I'm so sick of them. So, Dre is over there at Jada's house, and she was like, how you been doing today and stuff like that. And she was like, I'm good. She was like, you gonna be good for the rest of the night? She was like, yeah, Sway coming over. She was like, okay, I like him. She was like, me too. And she was like, you gotta be strong. She was like, I've been being strong, you know what I'm saying, for you, for Emmett, for everybody. Beyonce's gonna give me permission just to be me, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm so tired. I'm so tired of trying to make everybody else feel good about my situation. You know what I'm saying? And she started breaking down. So Dre holds her and stuff like that. Now, off in the cut, we see Nina in the car. She watching them. And she like, trying to call her. And she sends her straight to voicemail. And then she texts her talking about she's at work and she'll call her later. So now she in her feelings. So she goes to the bar or something like that. And this is where we're introduced to the Brat's character. I think her name is LaPortia on the show. And she comes and she, talks to stuff like, oh, you by yourself? She was like, yeah. She was like, do you want to be by yourself? She was like, why are you trying to keep me company? And she was like, maybe. So, Nina takes her little shot or whatever like that. She's like, ooh, I love me a woman that, hold her liquor or whatever. So, long story short, she ended up messing with the girl, with, the Brat or LaPortia and stuff like that. And, get ate out and all that stuff and, mess around with her. Then she comes home and she's like, Dre was like, I need you to stop checking out because, what's not going on and I need you. She was like, yeah, I bet, and stuff like that. She like, what that's supposed to mean? She's like, it means that I saw you and Dre, whatever like that. So why you keep lying to me? And she was like, what you mean you saw me and Dre? Was you following me and Jada? You mean you was following us and following me? She was like, don't try to turn this around on me. Tell the truth, Dre. And so then Dre finally tells her, Jada has cancer, and she breaks down. Then Nina felt so damn stupid. She was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. We got the band. And now she in that looking stupid. Now, move on to Keisha. Now, this is the last thing, y'all. So, Keisha, we see her pumping her breast the first time we saw her, and she's getting her milk ready and stuff like that. She goes and she looks at her body in the mirror, and then she calls Christian, and you know what I'm saying, and talks to him a little bit, and then he was like, well, before that, we seen him at the store, and he asked her out, and she was like, I don't know, I need to think about it. And he was like, well, at least you didn't say no. She's like, I didn't say yes either. And he was like, well, I just called it fate. So then she let him put his number in her phone, and then that's when she called him when she was at the house, stuff like that. And they set up a time, to meet and stuff like that. At first he said he was gonna cook for her, and she was like, no, I'm not comfortable going to somebody's house. And he was like, okay, well, we just go to Sundays and stuff like that, whatever makes you comfortable or whatever. And so they end up going on this date, and everything's going good. They're talking about their scholarships and how they fell through and stuff like that, and they're connecting about that. And then at one point he tries to touch her hand, and then she goes into this panic attack, and he just calms her down. And I absolutely loved how he was with her and stuff like that, how patient he is with her. And she was just like, thank you or whatever. He was like, no problem, saying like that. And so then after that, we see that Octavia came over and to get the milk from her and things like that. And she let her hold the baby, and she was like, she started crying. I was like, Keisha gonna want that baby back. And so later on, we see her on the phone with Christian, and she's like, I got to hold my baby. She was like, how was that? She was like, beautiful. And then later we got this scene with her and Kev, and I was like, her and Kev's bonding moments and stuff like that. And he's like, I heard you on a date and stuff like that. She was like, dang, I can't do nothing. He was like, it's cool. I just hope he falls in love before, he finds out how moody you are. And she was like, oh, shut up or whatever. And so he showed her that he had bought the baby some shoes and stuff, whatever, like that. And he was like, everything's going to be okay. And they like sit there and they hug each other and stuff like that, and they, she puts her head on him and stuff like that. I always loved their bonding moments. So at the end of the episode, Keisha comes downstairs, and Nina's sitting in the living room, and she says, Mom. And Nina looks over and she's like, I want my baby back. And that ended the episode. So y'all, I think I covered everything. If I didn't, like I always say, hit me in the comment section for anything that I might have left out. Like always, again, please like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And I will see y'all in a couple of weeks for episode 7. All right, take care.